it's me again, Tisha Monet, the host of Alchemy of Thought, and welcome to another episode. I am so happy to kick off season 2, dropping like so many gems. Let's dive a little bit deeper to what causes self-transformation into mental alchemy. Hello everyone, it's me again, Tisha Monet, another episode of Alchemy of Thought. I am in the beautiful presence of Aaliyah, owner and founder of Alkaline Xpress, and my roots. We are about to dig deep, y'all. I'm so ecstatic to talk and sit down and just discuss certain things with this sister. So just like, let's go ahead and dive in. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what it is that you do, and how you give back to the community.
Absolutely. So my name is Aaliyah. I'm a Newark native, born and raised. I lived in the same house my entire life. So going up and down the same strip, some of the buildings and stuff, they were closed. So specifically like the Alkaline Xpress, I would see it all the time in my youth, and it was never open. And one day, like now as an adult, I called a number that was like on the outside of the building, and I told them about this idea to open up a holistic wellness center in the middle of a pandemic. And the landlords, they were extremely ecstatic about it. They renegotiated the rent. They opened up the space after having shut it down for so many years, and they allowed the Alkaline Xpress to move in. And so that idea, it was just something more than the community expected. So let's just take it back, right?
Yes.
How did I get into holistic healing in this journey? Since 2011, I've been a Buddha. So I chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. I believe in the law of cause and effect, and I pray to the law of attraction. So anything that I see, I manifest. All of the things in my environment are a reflection of my potential, my strengths, my weaknesses, and so that idea allows me to never give up. And so the city of Newark closed down March 13th, 2020. We moved into the Alkaline Xpress April 1st. So we were relentless about that idea of being able to provide healing and be a lighthouse in the dark. And so it's like, who is that royal we? So it's all these brands, Higher Heights, Melanated Mycology, Monsters Under the Bed, Chef Cisco, BTV. It was so Negroes in Nature. All these brands that had decided to come together and approach the front line of the front line. And give a full package. So now we provide meals, we provide clothes, we have events, we give away free water, we give away free food. So we found a way to give the community a little bit of everything at the Alkaline Xpress. So it ties into my journey because as a Buddha, in 2013, I ended up being diagnosed with major depressive disorder and psychosis, and I was in a psychiatric hospital, and the doctor gave me medication for schizophrenia. I told the doctor that I was in a spiritual war and I was only going to chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo as a Buddha in order to get out of the hospital. And she said that she could have it mandated that I was force-fed the medication and that I would have to stay inside of the hospital. And so I was under the impression that people could read my mind and that the devil was jumping in and out of everybody so that he could stop me or she could stop me, that entity could stop me from the things that I was planning to do in this lifetime. And so I was in an extreme state of paranoia. I was a junior at Montclair State. I ended up having to leave college, take the semester off. I would sit at the computer and try to type, and I would sit there and the computer would stay blank for hours. If I read a book, it was like the words on the page was starting to morph. When I listened to the radio, it sounded like it was talking to me. It was always laughing at me. So I started to hear voices, and I just started losing parts of myself, my soul, my mind. And I definitely felt alone. I felt like my family had turned against me, and the world was I was on the opposite side of it.
And when did you say this happened?
2013.
2013, and then this is what kind of led to the journey of healing and becoming a Buddha and everything. So
I became Buddhist in 2011. And so I'd already been chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, and so the reason why I had this theory that some entity was trying to stop me is because I was working full-time with the developmentally disabled, in which they're fully capable and able, but they've been mislabeled in that way. But I worked in group homes and autistic day programs, and the day that, and I started watching TV when I was in the 10th, like when I was 10 years old, and so I was leaving the overnight one day and I saw Oprah and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna write Oprah a letter. I'm gonna ask Oprah. You get what I'm saying?
That's right.
How does she feel about funding a platform for the youth to tell the truth? Like, that was just the premise.
The
like,
youth to tell the truth.
Yeah, I was like, there was no TV station, no time frame, no show that was presented by the youth, to the youth about the things that were relevant to us. And so I just was going to ask if she was interested, you get what I'm saying, in being that person.
Yes.
That same day that I went to class, I had met somebody that I had been in a semester with for almost 2 months at that point in time. So that same day that I met this person, I started talking about the numbers that I see. So I meet a lot of people that believe in numbers and signs and symbols. And so I told them that I always see the number 9/11 and that my name is Aaliyah, so I think that it means I'm gonna die on a plane, but the universe is just letting me know in advance because I have all these plans to like travel and be an ambassador for peace. They're just letting me know, like, don't let that fear stop you from manifesting the mission. And so since the 8th grade, I have been seeing the number 9/11. So now I'm in college. That's what I'm saying, a junior in college. So I done already gathered my mindset about it. And the gentleman said 9/11 was September, and speaking French, sept means 7, and so when you see 9/11, it was really this idea of 7/11. And so all of these like dehumanizing and like scary thoughts, they were just completely washed away in an instant. And I broke down crying. Me and that gentleman had a conversation for 8 hours straight. We didn't go to class after that. 3 weeks later, I ended up in a psychiatric hospital.
Wow.
And so I found out that dark energy existed, that he could see different things on my body the first day of class, and he had been preying on my spirit that whole time. His dad had books on cults and symbols, and he was just practicing. And so that's what makes me so transparent about talking about these things and making sure that things don't get swept under the rug. Topics, you get what I'm saying? Be it demons or molestation, I make sure that folks know that there's a common ground and that there's someone who will listen. You get what I'm saying? And properly filter through that energy, not just give them someone to give it out to and then leave that office and then wonder where did it go. Now they also have self-healing, like things that they can take home, so essential oils, teas, yoni tonics, bath bombs, whatever that this person may need in order to continue on the healing journey, knowing that they are their healer. So they summon me into their life. I'm fortunate to have aligned with them. All of that frequency is what comes with my roots. So I was a mobile healer. Based off of my own experiences of like, I'm not taking the medication. And
so what ultimately happened with that situation?
I was supposed to stay in a psychiatric hospital for 6 weeks, 3 times a week, 8 hours a day, and take risperidol, which was prescribed for schizophrenia. In which I was diagnosed with as depressive and psychotic, and I was given medication for schizophrenia. I didn't take the medication, and I left the psychiatric ward 3 weeks early, and so I ended up graduating from the program, and I started my journey holistically. I had already been a Buddha, but this was that moment of like testing faith and trying to figure out like, well, what am I like firmly planted in, like what grounds me in this world. And so I live in Newark, so I'm from the hood or urban area, densely populated, but I would go to the park. I would call my spirit home. I would say, Aaliyah Bowen, come back to me, come home to me, like I need you. I'm dark, I'm cold without you. And so I would feel bits and pieces of myself coming together. I would do guided imagery. having been touched as a child and knowing the different signs and symbols that people show you all the time. And so I was calling that little girl, I was bringing her out of the bedroom and making sure that she knew that she had to do those things in the basement anymore. And so it's just making sure that spirit had these breakthrough moments, and he just knew that I was going to be strong enough to take myself in.
Yes. Can we talk about that a little bit? The
Absolutely.
molestation and children and the trauma that causes and how to come out of that.
Absolutely.
How do you help guide someone who's been through something like that?
So one of the first things is that the way that it shakes you from feeling ungrounded. So you have chakras, and chakras are your energy centers. For example, you know that they exist because if somebody gives you a compliment or you see someone that you love or like, you feel butterflies in your stomach. And then you have somebody say, you know, you made a mistake, you messed up, and you feel like you've been sucker punched. So you know that something is inside of you. You say, you started talking to me and I just started getting a headache. You get what I'm saying? And then some people, they talk to you and you like, I just feel better. So you do notice that energy.
Yes, absolutely.
Affects you. You say, I started dancing, I felt better. You get what I mean? And so all of these motions correlate to something. And so when you touch a child, you rupture their root chakra. You make them feel vulnerable. You make them easily accessible to people because at a small stage, at the seed stage, it was like you started pouring Kool-Aid on it.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So your root chakra is the thing that helps you not be a wishy-washy person.
Okay. Help you stand purpose, but it's been disrupted when you were touched as a child.
When you get touched, because now that idea of advocating for yourself, learning the signs for attraction, a healthy relationship, sexual desire, all of these things have been misconstrued now because you're attracted to people that look like your uncle. You get what I'm saying? Unless somebody grabs you by the neck, they don't really want you. You learn these things at a young age. You get what I'm saying? And so then you just start to develop the tendency and the definition, you know what I'm saying, based around abuse and trauma bonding. And so we created a space and a practice where folks don't have to worry about that.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
Beautiful.
So the children come to the AX and topics are more than welcome, and philosophies and practices and stuff. And it only came from, honestly, the word Buddha means one. And so like chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo and seeing myself in the environment, it's those children. You get what I'm saying? It's those moms that don't know that it's happening, that are more in tune with love and hip hop, that don't really see the signs. I send out a spiritual call from the Alkaline Xpress for these moms to come. You get what I'm saying? For these babies to come. And then more practitioners come and more service providers. And it's
they just it's a huge conglomerate now. Just keep growing and growing.
That's why I'm so excited for you to come, because like in the greenhouse, we call it our spiritual bathhouse. Okay. So we welcome angels, ancestors, aliens, all entities to come home and get cleansed. You know what I'm saying? That clearing. You know what I mean? So only because I had experienced the psychiatric hospital and the pharmacy and healthcare based off of being misdiagnosed, like with mental stuff. Yes. When I knew that I was going through spiritual ascension, that is what started my journey. And then people started to reach out to me. So I would start getting text messages like, Leah, I'm in the hospital. I can only hear your voice. I'm at the Thanksgiving table. I just hurt my aunt. You know, like different in the spirit told me to. So different people, like in my life, this started happening to them, and I told my mom, and so we started to talk to their parents and that person, like about what was happening, because I was under the impression that it was spiritual warfare. And so needing to just open up a platform where it's okay to start talking about that stuff.
Yeah, it's so taboo. So how would a person differentiate, like having going through something spiritually, right? And then being told by doctors that you have a mental illness, right? How is one not to hang on to that definition that they've been labeled as and not listen to themselves, like similar to you? How would someone differentiate between that?
So I would say one thing is like definitely to do your research and approach your health with this idea that there's an Eastern approach and there's a Western approach.
Yes.
And then most time folks have only been dependent on the Western approach in the Western world. And so the moment that you start to open up your life to the Eastern, like, traditional medicine, you also start to open up the Eastern side of your brain. You get what I'm saying? So you'll be thinking of logical ways as well as creative ways to heal yourself. And so you won't just be dependent on one modality or one person. Now you'll be seeking, and your cells can feel that movement. You are water, and if your body is 80% water, if you put a feather on water, it creates a ripple effect. So imagine you proactively walking yourself to GMC and walking yourself into these holistic doctors and going to the health food store. Your body feels that vibration,
effect, and now it's creating more and more more creative
more
thoughts.
oxygen, because you're promoting positive self-psychology. So now you have more dopamine, more serotonin, that's more oxygen to the brain. You get what I mean? So now you have more room to think, more space for neurons to fire off, for you to think about even more ways for you to heal yourself. You know what I mean? So once folks just would, if they know that another world exists, you know what I mean, like another train of thought, another school of thought,
and that's the issue. They don't know that it exists.
Right.
We're so conditioned by Western civilization, just medication. When you have a headache, pop this Tylenol. Instead of finding the source and being creative with that and healing holistically. And so why do you, well, not really why, because we kind of know why, but how can we tap out of the Western civilization and the Western culture and more into the Eastern, and healing holistically? Especially because you have to believe it, right? You have to believe that it exists. Like, how can we start detaching ourselves from this conditioning?
Absolutely. One of the first ways is to go back to nature. So with my roots, it is based off of using medicine, based off of being a certified aromatherapist. And so I'll blend plants in order to make medicine, cleaning products, beauty products. It doesn't matter, but it's like that tailored therapy. So you have some of this idea of going back to nature can be literally going to a park for free, or literally get it inside of your tub. You know what I'm saying? You can put your feet inside of soil, sand, wood, grass for 80 to 90 minutes, and you'll start to receive free electrolytes from the earth. So you don't have to use the money to buy smart water and all these different things anymore. You can just earth. You can spend a little bit of time, you get what I'm saying, writing, you know what I mean? Or you can just lay back. But take your socks off and put your feet on a natural substance. And after 80 minutes, once you start sweating and your pores open and the earth opens, you start to create a symbiosis, you know what I'm saying? And that synchronicity, you start to see yourself as a part of the clouds and the rain.
Yes, a part of the earth. We are the earth. Yes.
So you have those natural experiences, and then you have like some stuff like childbirth, when you imagine like moms who, when they sweat, that water gets evaporated. That water is the water that makes up clouds. Those clouds are the things that precipitate to make rain. So when you think about just like these simple processes, anytime that a mother made birth outside, and that sweat evaporated, you get what I'm saying? And so that's the heavenly dew of newborns raining on us. So it's reiterating those things to yourself so that you can like keep up that smile, because if you can keep up that frequency, everything inside the universe starts to conspire in order to make more of it for you. You get what I mean? And so going back to nature is one of your first and freest reminders. You know what I'm saying? Sun gazing. So doing it, paying attention to when the sun rises and when the sun sets, and leaving about 10 to 15 minutes just for you to consume. So these ideas about being vegetarian, they extend onto fruitarian, and then they go into, breatharian. You get what I mean? So there are different forms of food consumption. So some people eat prana. They eat energy.
I've heard that.
And air,
I've heard that. Or just literally getting the nutrients from the sun. There's a certain time of the day where you can actually look directly at the sun.
It's that time period right before sunrise and before sunset. And so once you start to open up your cornea, your retina, now you're starting to tap into the things that that determine your frontal lobe. Your frontal lobe is connected to your pituitary gland. Your pituitary gland is what gives you the pictures through your eyes to envision what you want for your third eye. So your pineal and your pituitary gland are like two peas in a pod in the back of your mind. You get what I'm saying? And so when you are consciously sending that energy, like I want my pituitary gland or my third eye to be open as the sun and as vast as the sky, that allows you to have that compassion to see those signs and symbols of a child that's been hurt. Because now your eyes, you aren't afraid to look the sun. You know what I'm saying? Like square in his eye, the elements and everything just starts to make sure that you pick up on even more signs on what's going on.
So it kind of enhances your intuition in a way, make you more intuitive. Is that what you're saying?
So, yes. And so if you use words that sound like mystic and stuff like that, then we will be saying words like that. How is it that the Western world has been able to also initiate this idea into society, and it's just been, you know, like a goal
fed? It's
called quantum physics. And so when you start doing all of these things in the quantum world, and you start electromagnetic testing, like for example, like we only know it as Tesla, but Tesla comes from the way that you are able to measure electromagnetic fields. They're called femtoteslas. It's called FEMOTESLA. That's how you measure electromagnetic waves on a specific field. So when Elon Musk came up with Tesla, the rate that the velocity, the fact that it's able to go at that rate, he was basing it off of how fast could something go electromagnetic on an electromagnetic field. So measuring only being a nerd, you get what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's cool because he just broke down Tesla. It's like, you know, if it was millimeter, we call it a car meter. You get, the only thing is that we already have a measurement called meter, and we already know it. And so it was just a form of measurement about testing electromagnetic fields. And people that already are into this science and stuff, they knew that. You get what I'm saying?
I see.
So for us on a cultural level, it meant something totally different to have a Tesla. For them, for the scientists, you get what I'm saying, that know about energy, matter, atoms, how all of these things conspire, and what he had did, that's why it was groundbreaking on that side, because somebody had broke through testing electromagnet, like going that fast on Earth. You get what I'm saying? So I'm saying that because some folks, they feel nervous about sharing their spiritual experiences because they may feel that they're going to be looked at
as crazy.
And so then if you find a way to speak, you may find another way to integrate them into the lifestyle, and it might be based off of scientific talk. You know what I'm saying? It may be hard to get somebody to stop eating dairy and meat right away. But if they come to an open mic at the Alkaline Xpress and it's already, you know, like Blue Lotus wine and stuff like that, they're already not consuming sugar and starting to enjoy something else. As soon as you put it on the shelf, you get what I mean? It'll become something that they already tried. So it's just different ways that we work to integrate people in. And so learning about the science behind stuff, how atoms make up everything and everything is energy, that is like kind of what helped me be able to have some of these conversations with the people who are in authoritative spaces. Because we're not cuckoo. You know what I'm saying? And we're not witches and woo-woo and all of these different mislabels. We're scientists, we're alchemists, and we're aware of that, you know? So
So how can you live a pure life, right, an alkaline life, in an environment, like example, our water and our foods that are often at risk of contamination? Like you're from Newark, New Jersey. How do you uplift and keep this life and encourage others to live this life when there's so much contamination around you? How do you live above the influence?
Absolutely. Definitely being a Buddha, y'all, first and foremost, chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, definitely like puts that shield over me. But like I'm like, I just have the Buddha nature. So like that compassion to be able to see like, this why you on bullshit, Tom. You get what I'm saying? Like, and this why I'm not gonna take your face off. You get what I mean? Like, yeah, like learning the different ways. So having a guiding philosophy. When you have something that you know is steering you, that you're manifesting for, or you have a determination list or something, having a guiding philosophy. Some people, they don't like organized religion or these different things. Then find a philosophy, a practice, a regimen, some form of discipline. You get what I'm saying? So that you can stick to doing something every day. You don't have to call it a person.
Yeah, you don't have to call it something. But I do think that as human beings, and we live in chaos now with people that have discipline. Can you imagine if most people didn't have some sort of structure? I couldn't. No, yeah.
So I would definitely start off with a guiding philosophy.
Okay.
Nature is free. That's what I mean. Believing in yourself is free, and going to the park and that's free too. So if you do both of those, that's what I'm saying. You got double power. You get what I mean? Like, and then you add a friend. You know what I mean? And you get two. You start amplifying the amount of energy and abundance.
And it's so funny that you say that, because a previous guest just said breathing. It's like they ain't find a way to charge us for breathing yet. Breathing is free. That's something that really keeps us grounded.
Absolutely.
All that stuff.
The way that it calms down your lymphatic system. So your lymphatic system is what controls the amount of toxins and the way that you're able to release those toxins. And so when you breathe, you start to stimulate your lymphatic system. So how do you know that this system is relevant? Because whenever you say your glands, when you are checking for your glands, that's where your lymph nodes are. Your lymph nodes come from your lymphatic system. So you have lymph nodes here. You have lymph nodes inside of your arm. Like, they're all like located on a meridian on your body. But the toxins, essentially, they gather in different places, and when you don't release those toxins, you'll start to see thyroid issues. You'll start to see different weight gather around people under the neck. You'll start to, what you say? They always gotta clear their throat. These are different things now starting to take place with their throat chakra. So you'll start to see dis-ease manifest itself in different ways when you're not, you know what I mean? Like honoring, releasing. Then you also have those low cost things that you can do, like getting your ancient grains. Every time that you like get your bag of ancient grains, your quinoa and your farro and your spelt and your buckwheat and your barley, that stuff is like $1.29, $1.69. You get what I'm saying? And that's what I mean when I'm like, going plant-based and being alkaline. Like, we don't do #healing at the Alkaline Express. We are from an urban area, so we have to teach folks how to get it. You get what I'm saying? By any means necessary. And so how do you go grocery shopping at Dollar Tree but still come up off of the alkaline stuff? So I've literally went in and gathered all of the alkaline things out of it. Blue agave, pink Himalayan salt, finding the sriracha sauce, finding the things that folks, because this is where we go, and folks will do, mass shopping at places like this. You get what I'm saying? So going into these spots like that, because urban areas are,
this is what we have access to. But the fact that you went and did the research, you can still, these are the things that still around you and are easily accessible to you. That is beautiful that you did that.
Well, my background is sociology, so I'm a social scientist. So I'm all about like running my numbers, working with the people, like figuring out how to get it in real time. Absolutely.
I love that.
Absolutely.
I love that. So I think we're running low on time, right? What's the time? 10 minutes? Okay. So I really wanted to get into dive deep into the healing of disease, right? And like STDs. And like, how can you explain better your understanding and the ability to heal ourselves, and specifically like STDs and there's this negative connotation around herpes and all of that stuff.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, can you speak on that a little bit?
Yes. So I love talking to folks about STDs because of the amount of sexual trauma that I feel just us as melanated folks and living in America that we've experienced because it's been seen as a taboo. So it's so much trauma that folks have been hoarding around it. Embarrassment, guilt, shame. Before HIV and AIDS was called HIV and AIDS, it was called GERD, and that was gay immunoretrovirus. And so it was specifically targeted for gay people. And people would wear masks, and so it's kind of similar to what you see going on now with COVID, and people not knowing how to interact in society. Some random strain coming up, people randomly getting sick out of nowhere, it being labeled as something, and then society just making this change. It had already happened with GERD, and then it was turned to HIV and AIDS. So learning about what drives some of these industries, what drives the need for people to make some of this stuff happen is what allows me to stay up and do the research. Okay. You get what I'm saying? Because I believe that is sick, is unhealthy. It's terrible. Yeah. So when you come say, for example, the herpes is a $9 billion industry because of the suppressant. Because of that one-a-day pill, it's a $9.1 billion industry. Wow. Yeah, that's how much money you will make by telling somebody take a pill a day to keep it in rather than doing everything that you can to regenerate your cells and flush your body out. It would be so much easier for you to stop eating for 3 days or for you to detox for 7 days than it would be for you to accrue the cost of taking the pill every day. The embarrassment, the guilt, the shame, the frustration of having forgotten to do so, being around your friends, the shedding, the stress, not really being able to actually catch a grip on yourself. You get what I'm saying? So when
it's the embarrassment, because that would drive someone up a wall to give me anything and everything. And so and because we live in the Western society with the instant gratification as one of our like 4 leading poisons, that's not some of the things that they experience in the Eastern world because they are still growing their own food. Crops take a time. There may be a drought. There may be extensive rainfall. They have already created a language around waiting for abundance and waiting for change and fertility and fruitfulness, so they don't rush into promiscuity and like doing certain things. They're courted, married off. You see what I'm saying? Like their relationships are taken a little bit differently than ours are. So kind of seeing some of the cultural standing around relationships. You get what I mean? And then you have, how does the healing actually start to take place? You can use oregano oil with carvacrol. You can regenerate your cells using the sea moss with the bladderwrack. And so you can take the elderberry. You have a whole bunch of tinctures and tonics. The moment that you start to strip your body, you just hit a hard stop, and then you take you let it flush itself out. You'll see that you'll start having rashes. Rashes are your blood's way of showing you that it's clearing out. So if you drink beet juice, if you drink celery juice, and you start to itch, if you start to piss out purple or red when you're drinking these juices, that is showing you that the beet is working through your body. So some folks, that's why I'm saying, just learning how to communicate with yourself, because when these things do happen, that's your body's way of letting you know I'm getting better. So you need to pat yourself on the back. You get what I'm saying? You need to find a way to communicate with yourselves and free yourself from yourselves. You get what I'm saying? Like speaking to yourself in that way. So for most folks, like just talking, if you have verbal abuse and it can harm you, imagine how you can have verbal affirmations and they can help you. You see what I'm saying? There are free ways that folks are able to take care of themselves and begin that healing process just by listening to spirit. It's saying, you hear yourself saying, stop laying down with this person cheating on you, this person cheating on you. It's not until you get an STD that you finally learn to listen to your intuition. So that was one of your gifts. You didn't properly get to discern or determine how you learned the lesson, but this is your reward. You see what I'm saying? Now you know to take your intuition seriously. And you are a self-healing organism, and it will only take a pill or a good conversation and a cup of tea to get you on your way. But that
that lesson about intuition is some shit that's gonna take you a long time to get. You get what I mean? And so spirit is always gonna give you these different opportunities for you to realize that the unseen, the atoms, the energy, the matter, that's all of the stuff that's making up the universe.
Yes.
Not the stuff on your timeline, not your boss. You get what I'm saying? Like not your boyfriend or your companion and stuff like that. None of these things. It's actually the stuff that you can't see but you feel when you walk into a room and you like, I gotta go. You know what I'm saying? Or when you sit down and you talk to somebody and you like, I knew you for such a long time. That whole stuff is energy being in the room, and you can feel that. The more that you develop it, you'll learn who to be attracted to, who to lay down with, when's the best time, because you'll hear it on the inside of yourself.
All right, beautifully said. Oh, you just dropped so many gems. Can you just let the viewers know where they can reach you, where your shop is, Alkaline Xpress, and just let people know like how they can get in contact with you?
Yeah, absolutely, y'all. Come to 373 South Orange Ave in Newark, New Jersey, 07103. That is the address for the Universal Healing Haven, also known as the Alkaline Xpress, our home. My platform is at Beauty Lee, at my.roots.llc, and at alkaline.xpress. No E, just an X. www.alkalinexpress.com, or simply just Google it. And once you Google it, you guys will find everything. The Grubhub, the products. We have a soccer team coming for children 5 through 10. We do business formation. We have mushroom growing classes. We have children classes. So one of the co-owners is actually a mycologist, and so we teach folks how to grow mushrooms. We make capsules, we make medicine. Because it's one of the meats of the plant-based people, we wanted them to learn how to sustain that process, like in the crib, you know, soil in the window, you get what I mean? Like, I don't care if you're in the projects or where, we got you. As far as like with Shuja and Higher Heights, Negroes in Nature, and making sure like people have access to gardening classes, and then the mycology classes, the self-healing courses, and all of that. So come home, y'all.
Come home. She said come home.
Please.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. This has been another wonderful episode. I thank you so much for gracing me with your presence and dropping so much gems. Once again, it's been Tisha Monet, and we are out. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.
Thank you.